Wisconsin photographers find creative ways to use their cameras to capture and share the world they see. On this episode of The Arts Page, join us for a journey through the decades down legendary Route 66 with Tom Ferderbar. Explore patterns, color, light, and texture combinations up close with JoAnn O'Hare. Discover the extraordinary beauty of lakefront scenery and city skylines with James Meyer. And see the many sides of Midwest motorcycle culture at the MotoPhotoShow. That's all coming up now on The Arts Page.
The Arts Page is made possible by the Helen Daniels Bader Fund, a Bader philanthropy. Honoring Helen Daniels Bader's passion for the arts and creativity, the fund brings community arts to underserved audiences and is a proud supporter of local arts programming on Milwaukee PBS.
Welcome to The Arts Page. I'm your host, Sandy Maxx. We put our focus on photography in this episode and introduce you to Milwaukee area photographers that bring images to life. We start with award-winning photographer Tom Ferderbar of Delafield, Wisconsin. His childhood love of taking pictures led him to a learning opportunity with legendary photographer Ansel Adams, into a career in advertising, and to his passion for the spaces and places along Route 66 and the landscapes of the American West.
I enjoy shooting the West. I enjoy shooting mountains, scenery. I also enjoy like Route 66, the memory of it, the old dilapidated homes, beat up cars. I don't know why, but it's in my DNA to like that subject matter. My name is Tom Ferderbar, and I'm a retired advertising and fine art photographer. I wanted to be a photographer from the age of 12 when my sister gave me a box camera. I really found it a nice way to express my emotions. I'm better, I think, at doing it visually than in words. It's a strange thing. All I knew is I wanted to be a photographer. When I finished high school, I applied at the Milwaukee Journal to be a photographer. And of course, with a high school education, they wouldn't accept me, but they gave me a job as a copy boy, which was an editorial assistant, $18 a week. I worked there about a year and a half, but they kept telling me, Tom, you got to go to college if you want to be a photographer here. So I went to University of Wisconsin, graduated from there, and moved on to spend 1 year at the Layton School of Art. My personal photography is, right now, it's devoted to shooting the Tetons National Park and Route 66. It's difficult to shoot the old road. It's pretty hard to make a good picture of the old road. But I enjoy shooting the older buildings as they're dilapidating. And in a way, there'll always be the ability to shoot Route 66 because the buildings along the way, some of them are decaying more and more and more, and some of the newer ones today will be decaying in 10 or 12 years. So there's always a new supply of old buildings and old cars and so on to photograph. So it isn't like you've exactly run out of subjects. My plan normally is to say shoot one state. Okay, let's say I'm going to go out this trip for 10 or 12 days and I'll shoot New Mexico. So I'll drive to the edge of New Mexico and then start shooting. Might take me 3 or 4 or 5 days to cross New Mexico. Then I'll come back, because coming back you see different things. The lighting is different. You see subjects from a different angle. So I'll shoot New Mexico coming back too. And then if I see something in some of the other states, Missouri or Kansas or Illinois, I'll shoot them too. But basically I'll go out and shoot one state. I like black and white for some fine art subjects. For Route 66, I think I like the color better. Ansel Adams is probably my primary mentor. I learned about him, I guess that would be shortly after I finished college in the 50s, and was lucky enough to get an invitation to one of his seminars. It was his third seminar, and he only accepted 20 students, and the seminar was 10 days long, but it was a tremendous experience working with him. were just a marvelous experience. And that's one I'll never forget. We were out there one day near Mariposa, California, photographing some barns. And then I saw near the bottom of the barn a cluster of barley growing up in front of the weathered wood of the barn. And I said, God, that'd be a beautiful shot. But boy, it's going to look just like Ansel Adams shot it, you know, and he's here, and if I set up my camera, he's going to say, can't you do anything original, you know? So I set it up to make a horizontal cropping, which I knew was wrong because it should be vertical. Everything was going that way, and you shouldn't try to make something vertical into a horizontal. But anyways, I set it up. Okay, Ansel came by a little while later, and he bent down under the focusing cloth, which is that black cloth that covers the camera, and he looked into the camera for a while, and he took the cloth off, and he looked at me, and he said, Tom, don't you think that should be a vertical? So that really made me happy, because that's what I wanted. So of course I took the back of the camera, turned it, made my vertical shot, and that's one of the shots that I'm most proud of from that series. His philosophy was a camera is designed and the lens is designed to make things sharp and to show detail. That's kind of what I took away from him. Pictures should be sharp from the foreground to the distance, if you can, and you should have a full range of values from solid black to pure white. There's such a great variety there at Yosemite. Tremendous just variety of subjects to shoot. When I make a photograph, my goal is to have the viewer experience the same emotion when they look at the photograph that I did when I saw the subject. I'm hoping that I can transmit my feelings, my emotions, in terms of the print, so that the person can get the same response that I did.
Travel through Tom Ferderbar's breathtaking collection of photographs of Route 66, Yosemite National Park, and Wyoming's Grand Tetons on his official website, tomferderbar.com. You'll see unexpected views of Port Washington and a collection of images that capture the culture of Milwaukee area motorcycle enthusiasts coming up. But first, we meet a woman who uses her camera to explore the beauty of details and design of elements found in the outdoors and in the ordinary. Waukesha artist JoAnn O'Hare is an inquisitive photographer at heart who is inspired by contrasts and abstracts she sees through her lens and is energized by the use of digital technology to help create her art.
I particularly like to work with pattern and texture and diagonal lines, all of the design principles, I guess, that I came through with my background in art. My name is JoAnn O'Hare, and I'm a fine arts photographer. My interest in photography came from working with a lot of outdoor experiences and little by little moving into nature photography, and then deciding that the ordinary was exciting and wonderful, but that there was so much more to it. And my work moved into abstracts and into various levels of interest. My images were in nature, because I like the outdoor light, and I have a tendency to be pretty simple in my packaging, because I start out with just basically a tripod, a digital SLR, and my work would be to go into the field and then start looking for the picture within the picture. Find a subject matter that you really like. And the subject matter that I've been really excited about has been working with a patch of poppies that are in my backyard. My grandfather had a house and a garden, and he sat in the garden on a regular basis. And these were some of the flowers that were growing there. I started photographing on a yearly basis. The flower is so delicate. Then you wait for the lovely golden light that comes later in the afternoon as the sun goes down, and it has a tendency to give a glow, a golden glow to whatever is happening. The flowers can range from an orange to a real bright red, and it's a common poppy that's found throughout gardens all over the United States. Two flowers that are one behind the other, which is kind of soft and will be finishing. The other one is in full bloom, and you get the contrast between the greens in the background, and you get the blue center of the flower, and then you get the soft petals. I have a tendency to embrace the flowers that are common to the Wisconsin landscape. Recently, I've been doing a series on irises and like that a lot. The other flowers that I've photographed in the past have been some of the magnolias. It's an aesthetic, it's something that warms your heart, it's something that you find out that you have to walk and look and be surprised. And so you stand in the rain and you take the photographs. Find something that you like to photograph and then start with it. You get a wide angle shot, you get your established shot. Then step into the image and find something inside that image. So you're basically exploring your subject. So nature photography is an absolutely wonderful way to begin, and the subject is still, it doesn't move around on you, and you get some great lighting in the late afternoon. Shadows can be absolutely a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to discover, here again, the patterns. And that in itself sometimes can make the photograph. You move from subject to subject. There was a farm site with a huge array of old cars, just junked, sitting around wherever they happen to be. You start moving from automobile to metal surface to bumper sides, and you end up finding abstract patterns, and that can be a real joy. The digital darkroom is one of the most exciting things that I think I've come across in a long time. And I'm beginning to embrace it and use it more enthusiastically than I had always done in the past. And most everybody should be carrying their camera with them at all times. And they are right now with the new iPhone photography and all the applications that you can put on it. I'm starting to work with a mini iPad. Photography has changed tremendously. It's so cool to be able to take a shot and send it instantaneously, so you're sharing your images. Don't go out with preconceived ideas, go out to discover them. You move from that photographer who is recording images to creating images. That's the fun part when you start creating your own images. Photography is art.
Enjoy more of JoAnn O'Hare's galleries of rustic abstracts, flowers and gardens, colorful jellyfish, and more at her website, JoAnnOHare.com. James Meyer of Port Washington is a humble man who got interested in photography as a teenager. He uses his camera to showcase the ever-changing character and colors of our Midwestern landscape, whether it's a moment on the lakefront or a sight in the city.
I don't fancy myself as a photographer. I don't really see myself as an artist. I just saw myself as somebody walking out there taking pictures of things. And it was the response I got that propelled me to consider this to be something, maybe a gift I had, or something that I should pursue. My name is James Meyer, and I'm a landscape photographer. When I say I'm a landscape photographer, I don't go take pictures of a forest. I try to take pictures of things that are part of people's lives that they maybe just miss every day because they're busy with life. I started doing photography when I was 18 or 19 and just found it interesting looking at things maybe a little differently than what is normally presented. I always find myself drawn to water, and I would go and take pictures of the sunrise or the geese or whatever. The lighthouse here in Port Washington, and I started posting pictures on Facebook. People found them nice, I guess, and started asking for more, and it just kind of took off from there. Wisconsin is interesting because the weather changes every day. You know, it's not like we're in California where it's going to be 80 and sunny. Tomorrow will be 80 and sunny. In Wisconsin, you have all the seasons, and each season presents an entirely different set of challenges, an entirely different look. Like most photographers, I prefer sunrise and sunset. And so you have that hour on each side or half hour on each side of the sun moving up or down to take your pictures. And it could be like today, for example, is sunny and windy. Yesterday was cloudy and drab. It's two different types of pictures, it's two different shots. I like architecture, especially old buildings. I like old downtowns. I like the Milwaukee River area, just because there's so many different buildings and so many different contrasts. You have the smoothness of the water, you know, the rigidness of the buildings, you know, the walkway, just very interesting. I do judge the angle of the sun, whether it's sunrise or sunset, and I know generally where I want to be. Really, I'll visit 3 or 4 spots and just find which calls my name, you know, which pulls me in. And I may just walk through an area and I'll just stop, and that's where I'll take pictures. Generally, I'll take 10 maybe, just getting the exact mood that I'm looking for based upon the sky or the waves, or you know, just what's going on. Knowing that on a certain day, based upon the weather conditions, I may have an hour. I don't want to waste my shots, and I want to get what people may find interesting or near and dear to them, you know, with the scenery that I'm at. This piece is called Calatrava Drama. I took it behind the Harbor House, and so I know that general area that you have the walkway by the Discovery World is probably an important area to a lot of people. So I really wanted to catch something from the other side of the art museum, down by the water, looking back at the art museum. It isn't necessarily a very romantic view. It's a little different because there were clouds rolling in, and it was a little, I don't know, gothic, and just not something that I think most people think, oh, look, the storm is coming. I'm going to go see what it looks like, you know, down on the lake. Which to me, that's the more interesting part, is showing you something that you may not necessarily see every day. Once I take a photo, like a kid in a candy store, I want to just get home and see what I got. I do try to compose and do some in-camera editing, not very much though. Usually I'll run the process of editing it in Lightroom. I may take 10 pictures, let's say, and each one is slightly different. Maybe I'll focus on a different area, or I'll change my f-stop or something, and then I'll basically look at each one and figure out which one to me captures what I was feeling while I was standing there. And then I'll play with the sliders. You know, I'll increase, you know, some of the vibrance. I'll increase certain colors, or I'll decrease, maybe add a little bit more contrast. And then generally, I'll have a finished product, if you will, finished. I'll post it on one of the many social channels and see what people think. When somebody views one of my photos, I would like them to think that's how they either remember it or wish to remember it, whatever the scene is. Just try. There's no right, there's no wrong. Try, learn, ask questions, find what inspires you, find what is interesting to you. Just trust yourself and take the steps forward. Don't be shy about it. But when you take a picture, that's not the end of it, that's simply the beginning.
Browse more of James Meyer's online gallery of gorgeous images of Wisconsin at his website, jamesmeyerphoto.com. Finally, we take a look at pictures of life on 2 wheels. Many people in the Milwaukee area are motorcycle fans. 2 men figured out a creative way to showcase their community and culture of motorcycle enthusiasts while celebrating individuality. Cormac Kehoe and Terry Haller curated a collection of photography they call the MotoPhotoShow.
My name is Terry Haller.
And my name is Cormac Kehoe,
and we are the MotoPhotoShow.
It is a photography exhibit of the Midwestern motorcycle community. We gathered together about 30 motorcyclists and photographers around Wisconsin to have them exhibit photographs that they had taken that showed our community, what we do, how we ride, the bikes we have, the friends we have. And it's all up on the wall here at Cafe Lulu.
We just want to be able to showcase, really fun art. So, and it's great because, we get to choose what we want to have up on the walls. So we book basically 4 artists a year, and Cormac approached me about doing this, and the timing was perfect. And because it's been a gathering place for motorcyclists it seemed like a logical fit to do that.
Basically, I'm a photographer and a motorcyclist, and one day I was just saying to myself, I want a chance to put my photos on a gallery wall, and there's nowhere for that. I was thinking, where's the venue? Where do we have a Midwestern motorcycle photography show? Where do we have any photography show for motorcycles? Pretty much anywhere. So, and this is Milwaukee, so what I love about Milwaukee is this is a place where you can just do stuff. So I said, it doesn't exist, so we're going to do that. All of our friends, we've seen them taking pictures at all these motorcycle events, and they don't have anywhere to show their stuff. We want all the pictures out of their cameras and on a wall somewhere. And Tara was like, yeah, we need to stop hearing about pictures people see. We need to see them on the wall.
Traditionally, what tends to happen is Carmack comes up with very, very abstract ideas, and then I kind of ground him on what's actually possible.
Absolutely.
And it works out very nicely. Okay, yeah, we can do that, then let's do it.
We wanted to make it really authentic and really from within the motorcycle community.
It's everything from the solo rider in the summer down that twisted road. There's some just wonderful shots of the Wisconsin and the Midwest scenery, to Road America and dirt tracking and trail riding. I mean, it's really representational of the full range of year-round motor culture experience for Wisconsin and the Midwest.
We ended up getting these amazing shots taken by racers, by race fans, by dirt trackers, people riding motorcycles on frozen lakes when it's 20 below zero, people riding on dirt, people's kids on bikes. We've got shots through the handlebars of a chopper, of a guy going 80 miles an hour with all his chopper buddies around him, leaning through a curve on the highway at 80 miles an hour. And that's something, most people never get a chance to share. We have the chance to show that now because we have people who shot from within that, know that culture, know what's going on, and shared it with us, and it's all on the wall right now and completely authentic.
What you're really going to see is what the motorcycle culture is for the Midwest. You see people just from all walks of life getting together for any reason year-round. It's not just a single season for us. We get together with our friends and wrench on the bikes all winter. At the same time, we have friends who are studding the tires and getting out on the snow and doing the ice riding.
I think the misconceptions are things that you get from looking at magazine ads and things like that were photographed by people who are not motorcyclists, who don't ride, or just using a bike as an image. We wanted to have what people who do ride and experience do. So we're sharing it with people who don't have that opportunity. It's sort of part anthropology, part photojournalism that we're doing here.
What I really, really love, especially about our group, and it's represented on this wall, is just the complete diversity of all the people. There's everything from little Vespa scooters up to the big twin Harleys, across to the Brit Triumphs and the Ducatis and the Japanese, the Yamahas and everything. It's just great. And it runs the gambit too, from enduro off-road bikes to big touring bikes to, again, little tiny scooters.
These motorcycles are beautiful. And you can tell there's so much work and creativity went into them. Every one has been modified, painted, changed, lovingly wrenched. They're turned into sculptures, and they're turned into sculptures by the people who ride them.
We have machinists, we have artists, we have business professionals, teachers. It runs the gambit, and in our case, the motorcycle is that common element.
You see these chopper guys, you see these guys on their Harleys with their beards, with their knives stuck on them, and you just think biker, you think wrencher, you think grease monkey. You don't realize that these guys are artists, and they have amazing talent and ability.
Talent-wise, it's all top tier from my eyes. And you're talking about people who, some are professional photographers and do it for a living. Others are literally self-taught, bought a camera one day and just started trying to figure it out. Just the range of skills and the surprise that you just meet.
I think the quality of all the shots are really great. I think we were all really surprised by just the level of professionalism and polish on a lot of these. Even some of the rougher stuff, it really works. I think everybody who's in this show, submitted some really great pieces of work.
Just help people understand that it's not just about the bike you ride or the kind of bike you ride. It's about the people, and it's about each other, and it's about the social aspect of the whole thing. And it's about sort of that, independent feeling when you're just riding, and knowing that there's other people who understand that. It's a community, so it's really awesome.
It's just a really great community of people. Cormac and Terry did a really great job curating it and putting it all together. it can't help but become more polished as time goes on.
I think a lot of people, because it's a public space, a lot of people come by who aren't really familiar with motorcycles or what we do. I just want them to come away amazed. I just want them to see beautiful things that they never saw or imagined before and say, wow, that is really nice.
It's all, again, about welcoming. You're welcome here. It's a fun atmosphere. Come and join us.
Keep up with the plans for the 2018 MotoPhotoShow exhibition and how you can contribute photos at the website MotoPhotoShow.com. For more art stories, be sure to visit the Milwaukee PBS website at MilwaukeePBS.org and click on the Arts page, or check out the Arts page on Facebook. On the next episode of the Arts page, we revisit and give you an update on the story of the Sternauds, a couple trying to get to Milwaukee to escape the Holocaust. Their legacy led to a collaboration in the Milwaukee art world and to a traveling exhibit called Stitching History. I'm Sandy Maxx. Thank you for watching, and please join us next time on the Arts page.
Funding for the Arts page is made possible by the Helen Daniels Bader Fund, a Bader philanthropy. Committed to bringing the creative arts to underserved audiences, the Helen Daniels Bader Fund encourages collaboration and innovation that strengthens our community to make our world a better place to live.